Thank you for coming to discourse, which won't happen. This will be satsang. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So it's your satsang. Go.
Swamiji Mason would like to speak. Mason, please go to the cushion.
I'm going to move that for satsang, but so he can see the people. No, so it's this way.
Sorry.
Somebody who knows how to do it. So the cushion should be so he can see people. But closer. That's more like it.
Shoulders back.
Chest out. Smile.
Okay, so yes, it's my first time, and thank you. First of all, I'm grateful to be here. I have kind of interesting story. 6 years ago, I think it was 6 years ago, I learned about iCoda. In that point, I was just doing some search and research on some stuff, and it was kind of accidental that I read about iCoda. Now, after 6 years, it was very interesting for me that I had a chance to come here, and it was I'm very grateful for that. I have been recently in a lot of stuff, and there are a lot of reasons that I'm here. So it's very hard for me to start from a point, but if I want to start from a point is that, so I have been like an atheist for like 18 years. So currently I'm trying to open myself. I'm still kind of, it's very hard for me to feel and view those things that you are talking about. That I had a lot of signs, but again, it's very hard for me. So I'm trying to open my heart, open my mind toward divine idea. I have been under a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety. So there are personal reasons, but there are, I think, other reasons also that I am here. And I'm gradually I'll talk more about these things. But if I want to start at some point, it's that it's very hard for me. You know, I'm conservative. First of all, I don't want to deprive myself from all of the feeling that I have here. So if I talk about my doubt, sometimes I'm thinking that if I talk about my doubt, it's possible that I don't get these energy that I get from all of the conversation, this environment, this atmosphere. But I didn't, if I want to be honest, I need to talk about my doubts. So yeah, I have some doubts that, and probably I can hear a lot about these doubts from you. That, so I want now, if I want to start from some point, is that I'm thinking that the mind that can perceive the world as it is, as it we see it, we feel it. The mind has a capability to perceive the world. So I assume that it has capability to develop some words also inside itself. And I have this thought that when I'm thinking about the idea of the divine, I have this thought that it's possible that we reflect some part of this internal world to outside. It's because we don't know something and we try to reflect those ideas and extend the world that exists outside ourselves by the capability of our mind, that it has the capability to extend the definition of the world to more ideas, to bigger idea.
So what do you feel when you're here?
I feel something. I feel something, and it's really helping me with a lot of anxiety that I have been recently. So I think I have been kind of forced to come to here by a lot of things, you know. So most of that is the anxiety. But
would it be accurate to say you feel something you haven't and don't feel anywhere else?
yes,
So that's the proof. That's the proof. The correct understanding is that's the proof that there's something real in this invisible business. Otherwise, why would you feel completely different here from everywhere else you've ever been? And you've been lots of places. You're a grown-up man. You haven't sat in one place your whole life. And yet you come here and you feel something you've never felt with anyone else or anywhere else. It may not be in your understanding yet, and it may not be acceptable to your mind, but that's proof that something is going on that's real. And it may not be proof to you yet that it's proof of the divine, but it actually is. You can just admit the truth to yourself that it's proof that there's something that's undeniable. There's something that is not part of everything else and everywhere else you go. But ultimately, if you keep coming, you'll realize little by little, is usually how it works for most people, that it's actually proof of the divine. Of course, then you got to have some sense of what that means when you say the divine. I'll say this, and it comes from the brilliant writings of a guy named Terence McKenna, who was a very well-known philosopher who comes from the 60s and 70s and 80s and didn't live that long, died like at 50 or 60 from some weird kind of cancer or something like that. Anyway, he said, this real stance of materialism, especially the Western brand of materialism, the stance is just give us one thing that we don't have to explain, that he referred to as a miracle. Give us one miracle. That is, we can't explain it. Don't hold us accountable for figuring out how and what it came about. But everything beyond that, we will explain. Give us enough time and we will explain. And that one miracle, that one thing we don't want to be held accountable to explain, is how time and space and matter and energy and the universe and humanity and life sprung up out of nothing. Just don't ask us that, and we'll explain everything else. And that is exactly right. That is the mindset of the materialist, quote-unquote, modern scientific approach, which of course makes it totally unscientific. It says, we can't explain the most fundamental thing, but we'll explain everything else, how the weather works, how the planets are, how they are, how the stars revolve. We'll explain everything. Give us enough time, we'll explain everything. But just don't ask us to explain what really matters. How it is that we exist. Don't ask us about that, because we can't answer that, and we don't expect to be able to. So it shows the poverty of the materialist view. It shows the poverty of what science delivers. So far, science has delivered more than anything, more and more large-scale and destructive methods of mass destruction. Nobody can argue that. I don't care how many cell phones you want to point at and how many televisions and HDs, and I don't care what you point at, even airplanes, these cars, I don't care what you want to point at. Everything is overridden by the fact that eventually it all gets used. The knowledge, the understanding, the new information gets used for mass murder. So it's not hard to tell the truth to yourself, no matter who you are. It's hard for very conventional people who wouldn't be willing to come here as an experiment to accept that logic, accept that point of view, that the materialist view is by definition so flawed, it's ridiculous to not let it go. But it's not a universe of accidents. You can't get an answer about that from scientists, but every mystic who's ever lived will tell you it's not a universe of accidents, and it's not a universe of randomness. The divine is consciousness, intelligence, and purpose. And you can say lots of other things, but those for sure. So it isn't a chaos. And it isn't a coincidence that 6 years ago you became aware of ICODA, and 6 years later it's the time for you to check out ICODA. It isn't a coincidence that you come and the very first time you feel something strong. It isn't a coincidence that it's hard for you not to come to every event. You're not making yourself. You're like, okay, it's like it'd be hard not to come. Isn't that what you're experiencing? There's a reason for that. None of that is accidental. That's the way it works for many people in the beginning. And remember, you're sitting here talking to the guy in the chair who was, until the divine crashed into his life, was a confirmed atheist till age 28. So you said 18 years you've been atheist. I was 28 years an atheist. I don't know if you can count childhood, but certainly from the time you think about those things, 13, 14. So maybe you have me beat. But it doesn't matter. Atheist is an excellent, excellent position, because it's saying, I need proof. And if you don't need proof, if nothing has revealed itself to you and that's clear enough, and you don't need proof, then that shows you're not very intelligent. So the intelligent approach is to take the atheistic or agnostic stance and say, until there's more definitive proof, I'm not going to draw any conclusion. That's an open mind. So I'm going to suggest it to you again, that what you feel here that you don't feel anywhere else is proof. We'll see what else happens because of it or related to it. But what you feel will guide you. Don't worry about what your mind says. Don't worry about what your thoughts say. Doubt will absolutely be there for a long time to come, because you don't yet have the definitive proof. And even if you have it, you may have it and not know it, but even if you have it, you don't know how to interpret it as definitive proof. So all that happens over time with more understanding, more experience, more exposure. And we welcome everything. We welcome everyone's doubts, everyone's fears, everyone's anxieties. This is not like the conventional world. This is not show us only your happy face and then you can be here. This is not talk only about this and that, but never talk about that. Here it's completely up to you. Here we will not censor you. Here we're not expecting anything or selling it. We're not telling you how to think. We're telling you you should discover for yourself. That's the purpose of life, to discover for yourself what it all is about. So I think you're very much on the right track, but it would be hard for you to have a clear sense of that. But the future will reveal it. But you're not telling a story that's about you. This is the story of millions of people. Come exactly the same way, have exactly the same experience. And it's never many people on the planet. But if you look at all of history, it's millions of people over. Most people start from a position of ignorance and doubt. That's the intelligent position, because we were all brought up with from the conventional attitude. It's very rare to find somebody who wasn't conventionally conditioned and doesn't come from a conventional approach. So, but it's already highly unconventional that you're sitting here. So we don't worry about those things. We don't ask you, are you conventional, are you not conventional? We just simply make sure that the divine is available in any way we can help with that. It's not a philosophy, it's not a religion, it's not a dogma, it's not a set of principles, it's not a guide to how to live, none of that. It's simply whatever you want. And if it has something to do with truth, reality, God, or the 50 or 60 other synonyms for those words, and we can be helpful, then it's our pleasure and our privilege. And that's all. As simple as that. There's no rush. Nobody's expecting you to be any way, do anything. Nobody's going to rush you. Nobody's going to tell you do this or that, think this or that. So don't worry. That's called the worldly life, where they're always telling you what to think and what to do, and we don't do that. This is the vacation from that.
Swamiji, we have a comment from Riza. Riza, you're unmuted.
Me?
Try again.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
loud and clear.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes. Yes, Riza, you're doing well. Please
Speak.
go ahead.
I think you know the story of the person I tutored, her grandson, and she had reneged on the payment of the tutoring. Well, I decided to not send her from my life. I mean, everybody has moments of madness.
Well, she ended up paying you, you told me.
Yes, she did, thanks
Yeah.
to you, flawed. I would have done nothing. But now she tells me her son is dying. And I'm very close to him. He has pancreatic cancer, and he's not going to live much longer.
So forget about the mother, and it's all about the son and whatever you want to do or feels right to you in relationship to the boy, not the mom. The mom is not part of your decision making.
Well, I'm glad that I didn't send her from my life. But the thing is, we were talking about death the other night. I don't want him to leave. This is going to go very hard on me.
Yeah, Well, you didn't want your husband to leave, and you didn't want anyone who you cared about to die or leave you. But
he's so young.
yeah,
He can't understand why he has to go.
there's nothing to understand. People die at every age, at 1 minute and at 111, and everything in between. And we'll drive ourselves crazy if we try to come up with a mind-based logical reason. Why would a child die? Why would somebody who's a college student die? Why would somebody who's only 40 die? Statistically, it's not the usual case, but we all know that people die at any and every age. And
My granddaughter died at 7, and I couldn't fathom why she died at 7.
yeah, and no one ever will, because it's not a question of fathoming it. It's a question of the fact of it, that we know people can and do die at any age.
So today I told her what you had said about them kind of hanging around. Sometimes they don't know they're gone.
Especially a child might not understand, even though they clearly see their body separate, and they clearly know that this is not normal life. How old is the child?
Oh, he's a man. He's
How-
in his 30s.
He's what?
My daughter was 7.
He's in his 30s? Okay.
He suddenly got sick one day.
Okay.
But
Well, just as general knowledge, especially a child, meaning under 20, is likely to have more confusion than an older adult.
we did tell my granddaughter, "You're gone," kind of after she died. We got in bed with her and tried to explain to her where she was. But I told her we have to be sure he knows he's gone when he goes.
Yeah.
So you were a lot of help.
Good.
Just
One big dimension of life is loss. Life is a series of whatever else it is, it's also a series of losses. The older you get, the more it's about loss.
I can see that's happening.
And over about 65, 70, 75, somewhere now, over that, it becomes truly about loss from every direction. So we're taught from the beginning that life is about getting, not giving up, letting things go. So the spiritual lesson of life is how to let go. The materialist or conventional lesson of life is how to acquire things or grasp or hold on to. So there's nothing wrong with acquiring things, but the problem is, can you let them go? That's the spiritual.
That's good advice. I tend to hold on to these things.
The spiritual, I'm trying to think what's the right word. The spiritual imperative that every person who wants to move ahead spiritually learn more and more about how to let go. Whatever it is, how to let go. Because nothing is yours, including your life. So that's the basis. The basis of why do you have to learn to let go of literally anything and everything? Because you will be forced by life and by death to let go of literally anything and everything. So it's the nature of things. So if you are unwilling to let go, if you're still too identified with this or that, still too attached to these or those, you'll have a hard time. Going through the death process and the after-death state will not be pleasant for you. And during life, you'll have a lot of needless problems during your lifetime that are caused by the inability to let go or learn more and more how to let go. So whatever else you're learning, you have to develop that ability more and more. And at the point of death, everything goes. Everything. Only your consciousness remains. Everything. Your ears go. your toes go. It's not just your possessions. It's not just your bank account. It's not just your car. It's your nostrils. It's your armpits.
I guess you can't talk anymore.
There's nothing you get to keep other than your deepest being, the essence of you, that which is awareness itself, your soul dimension, let's call it. That also doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the eternal, to the divine. So either it belongs to the material, the earthly, or it belongs to the divine. But one thing is for sure, it doesn't belong to you. You didn't give yourself life. So it has to be returned. It's on a lease program, and some people's lease expires when they're 7 years old, somebody else when they're 30 years old, and somebody else when they're 90 years old. Different leases have different lengths.
We talked today about what you emphasize, that all these things we get upset about, big are important and have, they don't mean anything in the end.
You don't even remember them 5 seconds after you've left life. What matters, and the only thing that matters, and what I say in as many ways as I can, as often as I can, is if it's not the eternal itself, if it's not situated in the eternal and the infinite, it literally doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you can't have it, or it can't be enjoyed, or it can't be a part of life, or it has no value whatsoever. It just means that what truly matters is the permanent. It's the most obvious logic there is. Even the mind can understand it. If it's permanent, of course, it's more important than the impermanent. That's the simplest test, the simplest measure. Is it part of the permanent, what never changes, never comes, never goes? Or is it part of the ever-changing kaleidoscope? If it changes, it doesn't matter. If it's unchangeable, the nature of the divine, the nature of truth, the nature of reality is it's not just unchanging, it's unchangeable. It doesn't move, it doesn't arrive, it doesn't leave. Loss is the nature of the life and death situation. Has to do with all the dimensions that are not the eternal itself, devoid of other perceptions. So ultimately, all the traditions, all the esoteric aspects of all the traditions, all the wisdom traditions, all the metaphysical understandings agree. There's actually no dispute. They absolutely agree that permanence differentiates everything, whether it's permanent or impermanent. Even Christian mystics don't argue with that. They are able to stop thinking about conceptualizing trinities and Holy Ghosts and all the different concepts and simply recognize that either it's the knowable God or it isn't real. Whether you call it the Holy Ghost or not, whether you call it the Father, the Son, whether you call it New Jersey, if it's knowable as the divine, everything else is some kind of illusion, some kind of shadow. That isn't the thing itself. It'd be just like as if you thought your shadow on the ground when you're walking on a sunny day was actually you. That's the world. The world is the shadow. But if you understand that, then it's easy to understand how can the world be real. The world is not real. The world is a shadow of the real. And a very pale shadow. And it doesn't show you any of the details. You know, shadow doesn't show where your eyes are. It's just an outline. So
mean, they stopped all the treatment. It's pointless. It's just pointless. There's no point in going on.
So whatever you can do, even if it's just in your heart, in your own thinking, to help him let go, will help him.
I'll try.
Because death is about the willingness to let go and move to the next step.
Thank you.
Swamiji, we have Ishan. Ishan, you're unmuted.
Thank you. Gosh, I feel embarrassed to talk about this. I guess I've gotten into a little trouble.
Then whisper.
So I had a discussion
Then just
with
tell
my-
me, whisper it. I won't tell anybody.
I'm also not sure why my video is not working. I didn't block the video. But, so I had a discussion with my boss maybe a month and a half ago, and I told her, you know, I wouldn't be able to make my billing targets without more clients, a bigger caseload. And she told me, oh, well, it's, you know, I need you here for your administrative duties. So I thought that meant, you know, that I didn't need to make my numbers, because we had both talked.
Oh, it never means that. Whatever they say, it never means that.
Okay, yes.
Never, never, never. If you don't know how to speak the corporate language, corporate speak, profit-oriented speech, you need to learn how to speak, how to at least interpret, understand that language. Because no matter what they say, even if they say it doesn't matter what your numbers are, they're saying it's all about your numbers.
Okay.
It'll never not matter, because that's all they know is profit. It's not about people, it's about money.
Okay. Yeah, because when I first joined, like, my billing target was the same as a full-time case manager, even though I had no cases. We even had the discussion like, this is not realistic, you know, but I guess I misinterpreted. Okay. And so she sent me this email, because I told her, like, when she gave me a write-up, I was like, I'm not going to sign it because we had a discussion. I told her I needed more cases. I'm going to make my billing target. And I really didn't feel like we had a plan to help me meet my billing. And so I didn't sign the you know, I can't remember what it's called, verbal counseling or written counseling, a corrective action plan.
Well, the signature doesn't obligate you to anything. It's just you're signing that you were spoken to. You have nothing to lose, and you single yourself out when you refuse to sign it because it shows you don't understand what's going on. It sets them more against you.
Okay.
Because meaning your signature on there is not saying what they're saying is correct, or I agree, or it happened. You're just saying, yes, someone above me talked to me about something. That's all you're signing for.
Okay.
So when you say, no, I'm not going to sign, you're digging in your heels over nothing. You're drawing a line in the sand for no reason. You do not speak corporate speak. That's the problem. You do not understand what's right to do and what makes them come after you. So you're making trouble when you don't need to, and you're not speaking up when you should. So maybe it'll be a great opportunity in learning to let go when they fire you.
Okay.
Don't be surprised, because you're not even understanding what they're expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And you're showing, I don't speak your language. So either learn the language or expect them to come after you and fire you. this is step one. Step two is an active warning. And step three is they fire you. So they fired the first shot. There's only 2 more shots. There's no shots for you to fire. You just have to understand how they operate, how their mind works, and that the corporate mentality is the same wherever you are, and if it's a corporate run or run as a corporate mind would run it. And either you're willing to learn how it works and what the language is or not. If not, then start looking for a different job where it's not a corporate facility or run by a corporate attitude. But good luck, because most things are these days if it's the US of A. In fact, US of A is run by corporations now. It's not run by the government. Corporations own the government. Corporations make the decisions and tell the government what to do. It's never been more naked than the country elected Donald J. Trump, who is the last step of handing everything to the corporations. It's already accomplished long ago. Eisenhower warned against it, and it's been steadily happening ever since. He warned that that's coming, that's begun. The corporations, the military-industrial complex is trying to take control of everything. The United States, as you know it, will go away if you let it happen, and I encourage you not to let it happen. That was his farewell speech, and it's been happening ever since. And the last step is Trump. He'll hand over the keys to what's ever left before he's finished, and it's not even necessary. It's effectively done. It's over. The corporations are so rich that, and the United States, if it were a corporation, would be so immediately declared bankrupt 10 times over that there's nothing to argue about. This is the United States government and the United States as a country if it was looked at as a corporation, would immediately be declared insolvent because they owe way more than they could ever pay. But they continue to have the idea that that doesn't matter, and as long as you can outrun the debt and as long as you can continue to grow things, it all evens out later, which is just beyond idiotic. So the reason that corporations have such an easy time calling the shots is because they have the money and the government doesn't. It's whoever has the money that makes the decisions. Don't ever be naive. So unless you live a different type of life than the conventional materialist life, the conventional materialist way of living, you're subject to that. Doesn't mean the rest of us aren't, but it means we don't care. We know what materialists do. We know what the profit motive is all about, and we know how the attitude of that way of thinking and operating puts profit ahead of people, and money is what's worshipped as the only God. Fine. That's your business, but I don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. The ones who choose that, fine. It's their business. Your business is to not be one of those. Your business is to try to know better if that's right for you. You came seeking. I didn't come knocking on your door and say, hey, there's a better alternative. But you know there is. But never be fooled when corporate mind works like corporate mind. You can't expect it to be any different. Don't be expecting a miraculous conversion in the corporate mind. They're never going to care about people, because people aren't what generates profit. Profit comes from the pocket of people, but it's to figure out how to get it out of their pocket into the corporate pocket. That's all that matters. You're still kind of hoping it's not true, but I encourage you to let go of that and realize that if you don't perform at a certain level that they measure by certain numbers, then they'll fire you for sure. You'll know by these paper trails they set up, by these meetings they have with you. You'll know that
Sharon typed
which
in.
direction they're headed. We lost them? All right, move on.
Okay.
Move on. He's not meeting his numbers. I ain't talking to him anymore.
Okay.
Why would I talk to somebody who can't contribute? I have no problem with ending early. Doesn't mean anybody should talk if they don't have something to say or don't have something they want to put on the table.
Swamiji, we have Surya. Surya, go ahead.
When I was here on Monday, you pointed out to me the necessity to lose identification with the body. And it's just, I think that's the first time I really heard you. Thank you for pointing that out. And I was meditating on that, and the next morning it clarified to me that this is something
Well, the point is you have a very clear and stark choice. That's the point.
Yeah.
Whether to wait until death completely rips the body away, and then you're forced to disidentify with the body, or do it before that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the choice. Because who's going to argue that death takes your body away? That's factual. So your situation is very simple. You can wait until it's taken away from you, or you can let go of it now. Why, you can still keep it, but in your way of relating to it, you let it go. Doesn't mean you don't take care of your body. It means you stop the identification. You break the attachment. You quit thinking it matters as much as you've been taught it does. You identify with the eternal instead of with the house of death, which is all a body is. But you were going to say something. I just wanted to throw that in because I'm old. If I don't say it when it occurs, I'll forget.
Actually, you're already answering my question. And yeah, so it clarified to me that this is something that I had to do. Like this is not just going to happen by itself.
It never happens by itself,
Right? I think somewhere I was thinking this will just happen by itself.
except when you die.
Yes.
And even then, your cooperation is required, otherwise it becomes a painful process.
Okay. Right. So I was very astonished. I was like, oh my God, okay. So I need to, there's a doing here to break this identification or to stop this identification. And I think you already clarified that it's the attachment to the body.
Who's speaking right now? Is it the body?
No.
So there you go. So get that all the way and realize the me that thinks, the me that knows, the me that talks, the me that decides. If that's not the body, then at least that's more me than the body. The body must not really be me at all, because the body doesn't decide anything. The body doesn't say a word. Yes, the vocal cords get used, the lips get used, the mind gets used to make words, but who's deciding to say them? Not the body. So it's not hard to make examples of how the body can't be you. So there's two approaches, two absolutely different directions. One as different as north to south, and the other as different as south to north. You can find the ways to become unidentified with the body, or you can find the ways to become familiar or identified with the divine, the invisible, the actual. Either one is fine. It's whatever seems right for you. One is the negative approach. I want to disidentify from the material level, from the body. The other is a positive approach. I want to find what is real, what isn't going to be taken away.
Yeah, that speaks to me much more.
And then if you succeed at that, the identification with the body is automatically included, that breaks. Because now you know I'm not the body. If you find out what you really are, then of course you'll know that you're not the body, and any identification is done right there. It's not always so cut and dry, it's not always so simple, but for understanding purposes, that's it.
So as an active practice, relate more to the divine.
No. As an active practice, live your discipleship to the maximum. Why are people always looking for new things to add to what's already challenging and difficult? You don't need to add a new practice. You've already got practices that are part of being a disciple. Just live your discipleship as completely as you're capable, and that will take care of everything. Discipleship is the more direct association with the divine. So it's already what we're talking about. And you're talking as if something brand new from the left field needs to be brought in to accomplish it. You're already in the thick of it. You're already in the arena, and you're asking, where do I go to play the game?
Okay.
Discipleship is the beginning, discipleship is the middle, and discipleship is the end. I don't care who the disciple is, and I don't care who they're a disciple of. But for those who want nothing less than everything, nothing less than the truth itself on a silver platter, discipleship is the beginning, the middle, and the end. If you want, if a little bit of God is enough for you, fine. And discipleship will not probably happen in your life. If a little corner of the truth is sufficient, but for those who are not wanting to settle for less than what's real or less than what's for sure true, discipleship is inevitable in this life, in some form, somewhere. Discipleship is always going on. Conventional people are simply disciples of conventionality. They worship money, they worship conventionality, they worship owning property, whatever. Everybody is a disciple of something. So everybody is serving something and bowing down to something and putting something above themselves. Everybody is after something. All life is moving towards something, not just sitting still. Sitting still is the graveyard. So I never think of it as conventional people, even though I use the word a lot. I say, America's a godless country, people are godless. But I never think of it that way really inside myself. I think of it as they are the disciples of nonsense. They're disciples of money, of power, of wealth. I really think of it that way because that's more true. I don't say that because that's more talk. I'd rather say it simply as, look, these folks are godless. That's a shorthand way of saying the same thing. But they're not godless. They're just, their God is ridiculous. Money as a God? Are you out of your mind? Yes. Power, wealth, money, fame, adulation, that's what matters most to you. Therefore, it's equal to, it's God for you. That's not a human life. That's completely idiocy. There's no intelligence involved. It's like watching television with the set off. There's no point to it.
Thank you.
I'm done.
Okay. Thank you. No, that really helps. Because it was clear to me that it's something I needed to do, and however, I literally had no clue. So thank you for clarifying, and thank you for your guidance on that.
Swamiji, Aiden would like to speak. Aiden, please go ahead.
The whole theme of tonight.
Salam alaikum.
Yes. The whole theme of tonight has been very timely. I started to read again. I'm still reading the Crest Jewel of Discrimination by Discernment. Is it Discernment? Okay.
And some translations it's discernment, and some translations it's discrimination.
You're
He
probably
probably has a different edition than you do. There's 20 or 30 different translations of that book.
Which is fantastic, by the way, for what you just brought up. But it's helped me a lot with the theme tonight about the body and not identifying with the body. So what's happened, I would say, probably since this morning, is just because he talks about in the book a lot about how the body, his approach is that the body is blood, bone, marrow. He uses the word filth, and he says, don't put any attention on the body. It should all be on Atman, on God. My experience has been the body is God, and that what's happened since this morning is this dislodging of identification with the body, and just I keep repeating to myself like this is God's body, and what's come from that is several things about what I eat. Like what comes up is like I don't have the right for certain, what I put in my body, the words that are spoken, the thoughts, the actions. Like I don't, like you said tonight, this whole body is on loan.
Nothing belongs to you, even
Yes.
your own thoughts.
Yes. So
That's one the conventional minded person will never accept. They're very positive that their thoughts are their own and belong to them, as if they created their mind.
So I feel like
That would be the only what would be true. If they created their own mind and created every thought that it ever has ahead of time, then they could say it belongs to me. But even your thoughts don't belong to you. You don't know where they come from.
Yeah. So I feel like something's broken or opened, and where it's given me some space to disidentify. And at this point, it's awesome and it's disorienting. And if you ask me right now who I am, I have no idea. But I'm so much in an enjoyment of not having the feeling sense of
It's obvious who you are, Imam Aiden.
Yeah. But not being in that so limited. Because oh my gosh, like I feel like so much worry has dissipated because I'm not constantly meditating on myself. Like I'm meditating on this is God's body, or this is God, it's not me. And so I don't have a question. It's just a brand new experience, and yeah, I'm glad we spoke about what we talked about tonight because it's very helpful.
And you're completely forgetting what I've been saying to you for 36 hours at home.
What?
Get rid of all self-consciousness about the body.
Yes, and I'm sure that got in somewhere. It landed somewhere, but all what I can say,
Because I've been saying it again and again and forcefully for at least a day and a half to you.
Yeah.
And very little else.
So with you saying that and then rereading this book again, something about him and you obviously, but also no, honestly, like there's the transmission of him in that thin little book. It's I don't know, it's amazing. So yeah, I'm sure I know it's not an accident that you've brought it up in the last 36 hours, and I just happened to want to reread that book again, totally kind of forgetting what he emphasized in that book. So anyway, just want to say thank you. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to comment.
And who assigned the book in the first place?
You. And I did think of that. No, I did. Honestly, I recognize that I would never come across this being if it weren't for you. I would never come across it on my own. I don't remember how he died. I know he only lived until his 30s, maybe early 30s. That's all.
So no book, even by the greatest of the great, is ever going to affect you like what your living guru says to you, you and you alone. So stop separating compartmental. Stop seeing these things as somehow separate. Well, you said what you said and that helped, and the book says what it says and that helped. See it as one thing. I'm not looking for credit. I'm looking for disciples to understand the nature of discipleship more fully. I'm not looking for applause. I'm not saying give me the credit. I'm saying understand more powerfully, more deeply, more profoundly how discipleship works. What I've said to you in the last 36 hours and the situation we're in together comes from your discipleship. The fact that you read that book and reread the book comes from your discipleship. The nature of everything in your life is within the context of discipleship. Understand that more profoundly and you will go deeper automatically. But if you say, oh, the guru said this and that helped, and this book is particularly useful, and that other book didn't help so much, but you don't see the unifying nature of discipleship, then everything is within everything that happens is happening on the stage of discipleship. If you can see that, it makes a huge difference, and it makes a difference with whether or not you have a possibility, a potential to, at some point, move from discipleship to true discipleship, devoteeship, a completely flowered disciple, the highest stage of discipleship. That should be your goal. So the more you see how discipleship is bigger than your life and causing and running everything more than life itself, in fact, that your life is a corollary of your discipleship, the more that's not an idea, but an actuality you see and taste and feel and hear and know, makes a huge, huge difference. Cataclysmic difference, catapult you to a different level. Quantum leap, that's the term I was looking for. That's the quantum leap when you actually surrender to your own discipleship, when you realize discipleship is everything, nothing else. Discipleship is the manifestation of the eternal and the infinite and the divine in your actual lifetime for you personally. What's bigger than that? There. Anybody else?
We have time for one more.
We have time for 6 more if they are quick, but if nobody wants to speak, we'll end early, which is just fine. Oh yeah, it's discourse night. We've only got 7 minutes. It ends 15 minutes earlier than satsang. I got confused because we're not doing discourse. So there's only time for one more, and even they have to be quick.
Nova, go ahead.
I'm transcribing one of the discourses from last year, and I think it's less than an hour, and you talked about one of the problems, the primary problem for disciples, and it's that you need to do it, and you actually have to do it. And I think in the discourse, you probably say it 150 times. And I've gotten so much joy out of hearing you say that. And then I've noticed how, well, you say how we think we're doing something, or we think about doing something, or we intend to do something, but we don't actually do it. And we trick ourselves into thinking we've done it just because we thought about doing it. And so I've just noticed that too in subtle ways. I think like I could make a left turn here instead of going the usual way. And sometimes I do. Well, now I'm more conscious, and I'm like, so do it first, but it's very easy to say, I could do that, and just keep going the same way. So I've just enjoyed and just being more conscious of, wow, if we don't do it, nothing changes and nothing happens. So in terms of deconditioning and shaking ourselves up and doing different, and I just wanted to share that's been awakening. Thank you.
It's a symbolic existence, a symbolic universe, and a symbolic life, and a human being is a symbolic entity. So when you do something, you're activating the symbol. You're giving yourself, in other words, you're giving yourself a clear, powerful, and true message. What you do is what you're saying to yourself. It's all symbolic, but wouldn't you rather be focused on meaningful symbols instead of meaningless symbols? So the way you change your own symbolic nature, your own symbolic life, the way you change the symbolic existence of everything is not by what you think and not by some kind of actual symbol, ritualistic symbol, something you draw or something you sculpt or something you put together. The symbol is what you do. Your conscious and unconscious mind believe it if and only if you do it. You are sending a signal to, what's a symbol? A signal for something. You are sending a signal to yourself. What you do determines what is the signal you're sending to yourself. That's why love is not a feeling. It's being loving. It's doing something. That's why peace is not the absence of conflict or war. It's a active peacefulness because you do it. It's not the absence of something. It's the doing of something. The doing of goodwill. The doing of non-conflict, even if you disagree. What you do is the message you hear from the universe because you're the receiver. You think what you do is about how it will be seen by others and impact others. You completely miss, generally, we completely miss until we become aware of it and sensitive to it and start noticing it more and more. We generally, until we don't, completely tend to miss the fact that what we do has the greatest impact on us, not anyone else. Because you're telling yourself about yourself in a way nothing else will be listened to as much. You will not listen to what you think about yourself as much as what you see yourself and experience yourself do. That's the real message. That's the real self-knowledge, what you do. So, You can talk all day long about all is one, and I do. But unless you understand that you're doing, and I talk all day long about be a non-doer and recognize that you're not doing it, but that is not synonymous with stop doing things. What you do is the most significant and serious way you talk to yourself. Everything else doesn't count anywhere near as much. Okay.